Smells like farm. Despite the Civil War rhetoric that is now extremely in vogue across right-wing media, there has been a war in the streets that has been really escalating in the last 6 months, but started in 2016. Political operatives have been being deployed into communities like Seattle and LA and DC in order to generate red meat for the base in order to maintain support for the current administration's actions, as well as provide pretexts for additional authoritarian crackdowns. I have been engaging with and studying these agents in my off time from my job at Nordstrom, which I no longer have anymore thanks to them. And so I want to now help you by teaching you the lessons I've learned from this experience. I want to provide you with their goals, their tactics, and their strategies so that you can protect your community from them. It is critical that you do not buy into their bullshit, that they are journalists, because they absolutely are not. And the violence that they are doing into communities is severe and demonstrable. These are the people that have initiated the Kirk doxing campaigns. They have done physical violence directly to protesters and bystanders at events. They work with paramilitary groups, and they direct violence right from the state itself. I truly believe these agents are some of the biggest threats to our communities because their actions directly impact what the president does. The president that sits on Fox fucking News half the fucking day and just screams at the TV. But when he screams at the TV, other people start doing shit too. All right, let's talk about it. In the 1890s, there was an intense battle for readers between two newspapers in New York City. The New York Journal, owned by William Randall Hearst, and the New York World, run by Joseph Pulitzer, who would go on to found the Pulitzer Prize for Journalism as an endowment to Columbia University on his death. As tends to happen in a capitalist society, these newspapers didn't compete on hard-hitting journalism that ensured that their readership was well informed on what is happening in the world and in their local communities. No, instead they raced to the bottom by pumping out the equivalent of all of the AI slop that we see today. During the readership wars, the reporting that these papers leaned into was characterized by exaggerated headlines, unverified claims, partisan agendas, and a major focus on sex, scandals, and of course, violence. These are all things that of course prey on humans' more base instincts like fear and anger, and so trade informational value for entertainment value. This type of reporting is called yellow or tabloid journalism, and it continues to exist today in a variety of forms. Like many words in our post-truth society, the term journalist has lost all of its credibility that it used to contain. Today, a journalist could be someone working for a major news outlet with a specific beat like finance or sports or a foreign country's politics. These journalists, at least nominally, have some sort of editorial oversight under the reputation of the organization that they work for, ensuring things like a minimum level of factual accuracy. Or a journalist could be any concerned citizen who shows up to every city council meeting and just publishes the notes of that onto a local Facebook group to make sure that everyone in their community knows what their local government is doing. But starting in the early 2000s, as social media platforms began to rise and content creation tools became more accessible, independent journalists began to pop up and started building their own followings. These independent journalists were people like John Gruber, who started the blog Daring Fireball in 2002, where he covers Apple news, events, product reviews, and he's been doing that for 20 years. John Gruber is very well known, connected, and regarded in the tech industry, and he makes his money through advertisements that he sells directly in his podcast and his website. But what has become far more prevalent in political reporting is modern-day yellow journalism, done by political agents who are contracted by right-wing media companies like PragerU, The Daily Wire, and of course, Turning Point USA. There is a subset of these right-wing backed independent content creators who focus on investigative street journalism, and they have an outsized influence on decisions happening in our government at every level. These people are agent provocateurs, or as I like to call them, vultures. Their overt propaganda is gussied up in the aesthetic of journalism and then fed right into the right-wing anger and grievance media ecosystem. Unlike a real independent journalist who lacks any type of institutional protection, these agents are so integral to the right-wing media ecosystem that they are financially backed by hyper-partisan organizations which are funded by corporations and rich donors. These agents' goals are often aligned with the state, and so they also get lots of protection from agencies like the police. This backing enables these provocateurs to inflict 3 types of violence on individuals or communities. Because of the very real risk of harm that comes from engaging with these agent provocateurs, it is important to analyze their capabilities before engaging with them. In the security world, we call this threat modeling, and it's just the practice of taking a proactive and structured approach to identifying threats, vulnerabilities, and attack vectors of malicious actors. In this case, vultures. The first form of violence they can inflict is physical violence. This would be a direct kinetic attack on anyone who is in the vicinity of their content creation. When I confronted a local vulture, Jonathan Cho, at the steps of Seattle City Hall when he was making misinformation at a Christian nationalist rally, he panicked when his tough guy routine didn't work on me and ran into an innocent bystander and then attacked them.
Oh yeah, this guy loves to lie about shit on the internet. I'm just right here, dog. I'm just enjoying the city.
Stay away, don't come near me.
Do you know what's going on over here, buddy?
Don't even come near me.
Do you know what's going on over here, buddy?
I'm here to cover it.
What, cover what?
Now you gotta bring reinforcements, like I said.
Everybody around me's reinforcements, dog. I don't need reinforcements, motherfucker. I'm just here. I'm like me, I'm not scared of the truth.
Take off the helmet, take off the helmet and talk to the man. There you go.
Yeah, so.
Say, what are they doing Saturday, dog? What are they doing Saturday, dog? Oh, you don't have time to tell people what's the drink, what's happening. Hey!
This type of violence creates the highest risk for the agent provocateurs, as it can trigger people to jump in and try to protect their victims. Or it can be caught on film and used to discredit them and their misinformation.
All right, what's up, Cam?
What happened?
Basically, I was covering this beginning of this rally here outside of City Hall, and 3 Antifa activists started swarming at me. One of the guys grabbed my shoulders. I just cleared the area, and thank God there are tons of officers, and it looks like they just made the arrest. And I got it all on video, of course. Good. And the far left activists are blaming me. Imagine if I didn't have video. If I didn't have video rolling all the time, I could be getting locked up right now.
That's why they generally seek to avoid this type of violence and instead prefer to do one of the next 2 types of violence. The audience that is cultivated by this type of content is low information, high reactivity. This makes them primed to transform into a hate mob at the drop of a hat, or sign in my case.
Sign that says nobody should be killed for their opinion.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I tripped.
Touch my stuff.
I tripped. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna mace me?
Yeah.
Please
Back
mace
the fuck
me.
off.
Please
Back
mace
the
me.
fuck off.
Hey, Cam Higby's got to mace me.
Don't touch my.
The violence these mobs can inflict is largely only things that can be done by someone who exists in a totally different geographic location to you. So the most likely attacks are all things that can be done over the internet. The most common forms of violence that this will bring can be categorized into harassment, abuse, and threats. And these will be delivered to you through any method that these threat actors can identify, whether it be via social media post or emails or DMs or sometimes even text messages. But the most impactful attacks tend to be things that seek to limit the economic opportunity and social consequences of the victim. The Charlie Kirk mob quickly attempted to connect my personal information with my employer and single sponsor, and then they delivered harassment and threats to those organizations in an attempt to get them to cut all business relationships with me as well. These agent provocateurs and their audiences know that no matter how many times these companies change their logo to a pride flag or whatever, they don't hold any firm values other than the desire for maximizing profit. This makes these organizations very conflict averse and easy to manipulate into taking aggressive actions designed to assuage short-term controversies in the hopes that they will avoid some sort of long-term reputational harm. These agent provocateurs and their audiences do this with the full awareness of the consequences of taking away someone's livelihood in a capitalist society. In a country where you must work to eat, get medical care, and have a roof over your head, taking away somebody's employment puts them and anyone they're caring for, such as their partner, an elderly parent, or their children, into an immediately urgent survival situation. The violence is what comes from taking away access to the building blocks of existence in our society. This is understandably terrifying and creates a chilling effect on the types of things that people feel like is safe to say in a public space. It can also make it more challenging for the victims to find a community that is willing to put themselves at risk to support them. Had I not been planning for the day when my principles and my employment would come into direct conflict, I would have been fucked when Cam Higby weaponized his audience against me. I wouldn't be here making this video, or the previous one calling for a boycott of Nordstrom and Office Depot and ABC and all the other companies that are failing to protect their employees in this very critical moment in our country's history. Instead, I would be urgently updating my resume and scrubbing my social media posts for anything that could potentially impact my future employment. The final, and by far the biggest threat to the safety of the communities that these agent provocateurs are operating in, is violence from the state. We're going to talk about the specific goals and tactics of these agent provocateurs in a moment. But what's important to know right now is that to achieve those goals, these people are most often going to be focused on capturing events in places where social unrest is the highest. Anywhere that has high levels of social unrest, you will find lots of low-level property crime like graffiti or setting small fires or defacing government buildings. These types of low-level, non-violent crime are the bread and butter of these vultures. This type of content supports aggressive police actions and further crackdowns on civil liberties. It's important to operate around these agents as if they are extensions of the police, because that is how they see themselves and that is how the cops see them. Two extremely active provocateurs in my area have even joined the head of the Seattle Police Officers Guild to do friendly interviews on his podcast.
Hold the Line with Mike Solon is brought to you by the Seattle Police Officers Guild.
Good. So you, in fact, have become not just somebody that captures the events on the ground, the violent attacks, the insurrection, basically, right? Not to make it too politicized here, but that's essentially what this is turning out to be.
Yeah.
But you've also become your own investigator.
Yeah.
Laying the groundwork for authorities.
Yeah, I use the facial recognition like you mentioned earlier, and you'd be surprised how easy it is to plop someone's face in the software and now you got their Facebook.
Know everything
LinkedIn.
about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing their reward points at like Fred Meyer. Well, foolish of you, you put your full name and your address on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Easily obtained.
Yeah.
You guys are leading the charge, man. I mean, I no longer work, I shouldn't say that broadly, but I tend not to work with legacy corporate media anymore because they don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
And they'll always want a quote from you to insert into their piece to fill their narrative. And it's one of the reasons why podcasts are popping up. One of the reasons why we did this is to fill our narrative, which we feel is the truth, much like all you're doing, man, is recording the actions.
Exactly.
Whether it's police doing bad actions or if it's these lunatics that are trying to subvert our republic.
There are, again, a lot of left-leaning journalists who are just like unemployed people with phones that go out and record this stuff too. And lens always on the
police,
the one magnification on the police, none of the crowd with their big shields, smashing them on the ground and, throwing, if they throw a rock at the cops, I have been over these people's shoulders watching them watch big rocks the size of your hand get thrown at SPD or DHS. Never shows it in their coverage.
So they selectively edit it.
Oh, of course, yeah, and they don't show this stuff.
I really thank you for coming out, man, and I think more importantly, just doing what you're doing. It kind of gives me chills that you got so much drive and fire.
Yeah,
in a good way to hold these lunatics to account, because clearly our elected leaders aren't.
Yeah,
cops were trying, and man, I can't thank you enough people like yourself that
Likewise.
are facing all the vitriol.
That man's name is Mike Solon, and he does not hide his partisan perspective and has done his own fair share of friendly interviews on right-wing media like Fox News. These provocateurs love working with the police to target activists and individuals because they take on effectively zero risk while still being able to inflict all of the consequences that can come from state violence. Just like with doxing campaigns, they don't need to catch you in the act of breaking the law in order to potentially get you into the crosshairs of law enforcement. During a conflict at the Tequila Federal Facility here in South Seattle, where ICE is conducting and managing a lot of its operations here, the footage from these provocateurs helped identify vehicles and individuals in order for federal agencies to follow up with over the weeks and months later. Now that you understand the full threat that these provocateurs are to the communities that they're operating in, let's talk about what specifically they are looking to do when they go out in the streets. All right, I'm tired of standing. Let's bring it down as we get into the goals here. The reason that they are funded by corporate and elite interests is because they generate content that supports specific right-wing narratives, generally the ones that are the least popular. Let's use Cam Higby as an example to see how clearly and completely his content matches the prerogative of the Trump administration. He's covered ICE protests, not just in Seattle, but Portland and LA.
At 5:13, the federal building a block away was taken over completely.
His content fed off racist sentiments in order to demonize people who were standing up to a out-of-control federal force abducting people off of the streets. Every time a Christian nationalist group has come to town, he's been there to sane-wash their queerphobia and to promote their Christian dominionist worldview.
Please keep coming. I will be so sad if I don't see you guys, because this might be your only time you ever come to church.
And now I want to pass on the baton to my colleague, Cam Higby, who's been on the front lines on the outskirts of the concert stage.
Do you guys hate transgender people?
No, not whatsoever. We welcome transgender people, all people, into our churches.
You're telling me that they could come to your church?
100% they can come to our church.
You guys are all Christian fascists. Christian nationalism is the new Nazi.
What makes them fascists?
They want to remove all of the trans people.
In fact, we had a transgender person at our church last week, and he came to both services and respected the fact that we require people to use the correct bathroom. And yeah, there was no problem at all.
You just said trans people are welcome at their church. A trans person attempted Pursuit Church last week.
You know, that's
Just a month or so ago, he was sent over to Israel to make propaganda in support of the Palestinian genocide.
We are at the Gaza border right now. On the other side of that fence is Gaza. About 10 minutes, we're going to go in. We're at the Kerem Shalom crossing right now, where Israel allows hundreds of trucks of food aid into Gaza every single day.
So there's no oil in the Gaza Strip either. No fuel. Petroleum trucks right there. Tons of it. So here we are in the Gaza Strip, where there is allegedly no food aid, level 5 starvation, famine. There's no food in the Gaza Strip. What's all? I don't know what all this is behind me. It looks like food. It smells like food.
The narrative is the product that these agents are selling, but their primary goal is to build up their own personal brands to gain influence and power. The more attention they can soak up on social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, the more money they get. And when something really hits with the right-wing media, they can get an extra payout from the right-wing media corporations who they contract with, or even prestigious spots on the actual mainstream news channel television shows. It also gives them a feeling of safety because a bigger audience means a bigger mob you can weaponize against your enemies. But it also gives them a feeling of high status in this social hierarchy that they are trying to climb. These goals give them high alignment with the right-wing media sphere. This puts these agents in a very important space between a right-wing media sphere desperate to sell a narrative and a right-wing customer base that is desperate to buy that narrative. This is why they will never be held accountable to factual accuracy, operating with integrity, or providing transparency. So if they don't fear losing their job, what do they fear? Let's talk about that. I refuse to call it a fucking job. I told Cam right to his fucking face, that is not a real fucking job, dog. Sorry. You can't put class traitor on the fucking resume. With the intel I've been gathering on local vultures, I can tell you some general ways that they differ between each other and some general ways that they are all the same. The ages, races, genders, backgrounds, origins, living situations are all relatively diverse between these people. But they do impact the tactics that each of them will use to achieve their goals. For example, the most aggressive of these agents, the ones that are on the front lines trying to get as close as possible to activists, the ones that have demonstrated the ability to do violence to people, they are all men. What a coincidence. It's almost as if our culture incentivizes men to be violent and aggressive, but what they all collectively share is a desire to build their personal brands. They know that they're building a weaponizable audience. That's what they want. If they could just kill you, they would do it. But they have to settle for this. That's not a joke for all of them. They are aware that if you and everyone else you know knew their goal and the violence that they're willing to inflict on communities in service of that goal, it would make achieving that goal far more difficult and dangerous. Despite wanting to build gigantic online audiences, they are afraid of people knowing who they are in real life. That is why sometimes you will see these people dressed up like they are a frontline journalist in the Ukrainian war or something, and I'm just wearing my sick death before detransition or have a gay day t-shirts. They're going to label me an extremist, but only one of us is going to be afraid of people attacking them in real life. It's extremely difficult to impose economic consequences on these vultures. It is far easier to impose social consequences. Although it's not the only thing I talk about in my social circles, politics comes up and I wear mine on my sleeve, and the people around me know what my politics are. They love it, they care about me, and they appreciate what I'm doing. Lots of ex-coworkers have reached out to me, are pissed that I got fired, and support my call for a boycott of Nordstrom. That's what happens when you just keep shitting on your employees for years. What do you expect? People like Cam and Cho, who have extremist right-wing views and live in progressive spaces like the Seattle metro area, have to mask their politics a lot. Not because it's physically dangerous for them. They would just be odious and socially isolated. Although I'm guessing a lot of them already are, and that's why they need community from each other. Cam Higby, for example, told me that his friend group is completely apolitical. Maybe that's like a conscious, agreed upon thing. Let's just keep a good thing going here between friends and not mix up politics at all. I've done that for soccer teams I play with, We're not going to have drinks afterward, but I'm happy to play on your team. But based on his age of 25, I'm guessing he's just around a lot of college students who haven't really sussed out their politics, who are focused on other things and are just kind of sitting in that political liberal right middle that we have here in our country. But it's also important to not ignore the possibility that these agent social circles are just filled with right-wing extremists, people that know and fully support their goals. The reason I prefix his name with disgraced former journalist, Jonathan Cho got fired from Como a few years back for doing a just puff propaganda marketing piece for a local Proud Boy protest. They were there to protest for the release of other Proud Boys who were locked up because they participated in January 6th.
The investigation revealed that it was individuals associated with the Proud Boys who instigated the initial breach at the Peace Circle at 12:53 p.m.
I cannot express to you how distrustful of journalists and totally willing to be clear about that paramilitary groups like the Proud Boys are. Watching Cho's coverage of the event, which provides his audience no context as to the connection of the Proud Boys and the January 6th attack on the Capitol, makes it very clear as to why he was allowed to have such amazing access for so long. Now, you know their goals and what they fear will impact them achieving those goals. So let's talk tactics for frustrating their efforts. The first thing to do before you even consider going and having some sort of interaction with these agents is to know your enemy. Gather all the information you can find about these agents operating in your area. Their background, their professional connections, their sources of income, the platforms they operate on, and the beats they specialize in covering. The most reliable place to find information about them is on their social media because they got a post to eat. Then do a basic Google search of their name, phone number, address, whatever you find. See what interesting hits come up. Like, that's how I found that article on Jonathan Cho fucking greasing the Proud Boys. There are websites that scrape public information databases in order to collect current address, phone number, carrier, internet service providers, like family associations, tickets, criminal background, all yours for just a couple bucks. Catching their streams is where you get the most important intel because that's where it's most raw. You will be surprised how often these people capture their own bad behavior, but you'll also find out things very interesting, relevant things. Let me give an amazing example. Matt Adams is an amateur provocateur. He's doing it just for the love of the game. And he doesn't live here. He lives out in Seabeck, Washington, but comes into Seattle to follow Cam Higby around events. By monitoring his stream, we've captured some unhinged behavior, like him just straight up screaming at cars through a megaphone. We also documented him jumping out of a moving car to attack a protester he felt threatened by because they were just riding their bicycle behind him.
I don't drink! Let's go. Let's go. Get in the car. Let's go. Yep. He's about ready to get maced. This guy right here. Karina, slam on the brakes right now. Let go. Huh? You bitch, motherfucker! Fuck you! Oh! Get in the fucking car! Get him! Glenn, get in the car right now! Get in the car! Sean, shut this door! Shut the door! Let's go! Let's fucking go! You don't fucking mess with me! You don't fucking mess with me! Or my fucking friends! You scumbag pieces of shit! Fuck you!
But more importantly, I have this clip of him nominally attempting to go troll some furries, right? But it becomes very clear quickly that A, he had some preconceptions about how furries operate. And B, once those preconceptions were eliminated, he is a furry. He is clearly a furry, and that's awesome.
Okay, so we're here Ocean Shores at Fervana. Look at these costumes. These costumes are just amazing. Did anybody spend less? Let's raise our hands. Anybody spend more than $500 on their costume? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me ask this. What do you guys think about furries in public schools? I mean, what's your guys' take? Is that something that we need to leave out of public schools, or is that something that we should just have fun with 24/7?
That's all it is fun.
So is it a lifestyle? Like, are you guys furries 24/7, or is it?
No, I go to my work.
Okay.
I do my job regularly.
No, we're normal people, man.
This is just
that's awesome.
It's just a hobby.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What can I ask? What got you guys into it? Were you guys just like me and drove by and saw somebody in a really badass costume and said, "Okay, I got to be a part of this"? Or was it? That's I like it.
Everyone draws fandom in a different sense.
Because I think it's cool. I could see myself getting pulled in if I get to pick out like down to the spec of what my costume could look like.
Oh, custom.
Yeah.
Plus, the parties are pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
They are good.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, hey guys, you guys have fun. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it. Have fun.
Matt, I have a signed Squid Tips furry Yeen sticker just for you, champ. And I seriously recommend you lean into that community. I have found furries to me some of the most interesting and kind people in the world. You can also just DM them and try to socially engineer some information out of them. I got to the point with Cam Higby where he wanted to make content with me. Although he purposely pretended to not know who I was at this University of Washington interaction. I had a rather lengthy series of DMs with him in Instagram in order to try to resolve our conflict in a non-confrontational way. Through that, I was able to gain a better understanding of his life and worldview, which helped shape my tactics and build this training. If you seem like you're on their team, you share their opinions, then they're more likely to open up to you. Because remember, these people don't have safe social circles that they can always share these things with. But who they really want to interact with is other influencers with large platforms, obviously. Once you know all the agents operating in your area, you are now ready to develop a strategy for dealing with them. The tactic that I recommend the most for dealing with these people is to just don't feed the troll. Ignore them. Literally just starve them for attention. Starve them for the content that they need to create in order to be important, in order to build that personal brand in a way to that community that is just desperate for that narrative. Don't give them a marketable product to sell. We've gone over the significant risks anyone faces if you are identified in their content. That's why it is important to see direct confrontation as attacking them exactly where they're reinforced, exactly where they want you to. When these agents invest their time and resources deploying to these events, they need to have a good ROI. Nobody is watching them for the softball questions to right-wing activists. They're watching them to see some libtard get owned. Ignoring their request to interview you or debate them will force them to get more creative with trying to generate that sensationalist content. That's why being able to just identify these people is key. That way you can avoid them and then make sure other activists do the same and prevent people who are interested in being more offensive in their actions against the state from playing into their goals. And for the record, when I go to an action, whether I'm in black bloc or not, I assume these people are recording me at all times. And that's a great segue to the next tactic, which is to record them. As many people recording them as possible at all times. To achieve their propaganda goals requires very selective editing and specific framing. And that's why recording these people throws them off their game and helps protect others from their violence. The footage me and other bystanders captured of Cho attacking that person just standing there recording him directly is in conflict of his account of events. I can tell now by the way he's talking about it in public that he is afraid of me and people seeing that footage. Cho wasn't arrested or charged for this, and the people that were arrested were never charged with anything. I know nothing other than that everyone in that story has that footage and saw that footage and made a decision based on that footage. So I don't want to speculate, but the whole situation really pisses me off, especially the overt corruption by the Seattle Police Department, of which I definitely emailed the city council and the mayor about.
Hey man, you want to fucking find out? This guy just assaulted this guy. See that? He just hit that guy with a fucking stick.
He's the guy right there.
How convenient. How fucking convenient. How convenient. That guy got fucking hit. That guy was hit by that guy.
He assaulted me.
Holy shit.
Doing my job, turning.
Jonathan Cho is a fucking liar. Oh, wow. You okay, man? He got it on video. You okay, man?
I saw you push into him.
Look at his face. He got fucking hit by that guy. Y'all are such fucking chuds. Holy shit. Oh, wow. This is embarrassing. Thank you so much. Oh. What the fuck?
He didn't do shit!
Holy shit. Holy shit.
He didn't touch anyone!
I can't believe my fucking eyes. I can't believe what's fucking happening right now. What did he fucking do? Holy shit. Oh yeah. Oh, I better charge in. Oh, I better fucking charge in. Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Go hit some innocent people.
But without all these different angles, we wouldn't have that information or this full story. And potentially somebody could have made one of those charges stick. This is why them and the police hate being recorded by the public. They know that they're doing things that if the politically unaware liberal core, or maybe even their rage-filled audience saw, it might really damage their reputation. This is a really important way that these agents and the police are extremely similar. Neither of them enjoy being recorded by other people. If you decide that you want to go on the offensive with these agents, I recommend either disruption or character assassination. This is the last tactic I mentioned because it is the one most likely to backfire on you and feed into the vulture's goals. The most effective disruptions are generalized, sound-based often, and will impact everyone in the community that the agent is operating around. A specific example is when Cam Higby came skulking around our trans pride events at Cal Anderson before the Christian Nationalists went to Gasworks Park. So while me and my friends were hosting a mutual aid motorcycle picnic and free maintenance Skillshare, he came to make anti-trans propaganda. He knows people don't want him there because he sicks his audience on them, and he comes anyway. He is actively doing violence. Because of all the violence and exploitation he does with the trans community, he was gently asked to leave. And when he refused a portable speaker playing copyrighted music and a Harley making Harley noises, encouraged him to take a more respectful distance from the event.
I asked one question and this is what's happened. Oh my God, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're not a reverend. You're not a reverend. Stop touching me.
Having good intel on these people's backgrounds, beliefs, and operations will help you understand how to discredit their reporting. Knowing that Jonathan Cho code switches regularly helps discredit him against his audience. You know, he talks big and tough and strong when he's trying to provoke people in the street to playing into his goals. And he whacks ooh, small beans, I was so afraid when he goes on to the reporting. It's pretty fucking hilarious and pathetic. Look how aggressive he is when he's looking to generate the content.
Not scared
Take
of the
off the
truth.
helmet. Take off the helmet and talk to the man. There you go.
And look at how he's acting when he's trying to cover up for his aggression and misconduct.
Grab my shoulders. I just cleared the area. And thank God there are tons of officers and it looks like they just made the arrest.
If you're going to engage in dialogue with these people, I would just keep it to like pointed statements or uncomfortable questions, neither of which are going to make it into their content. And be absolutely sure you are recording and you are being recorded. Do not do this alone. You need multiple angles. You need backups if something goes wrong. Your footage will be your sword and your shield. If you own them, it's not going to make it into their content. So you're going to need to be the one to generate something of value out of it.
It doesn't take a lot to care about the guy at Home Depot not being able to go to his family, who knows that they're going to eat that.
I think it's sad, but they made that choice.
The kids didn't make any choices.
The kids didn't, but the dad did.
So you're cool with punishing children. You're cool with punishing children, right? I mean, that's the logical conclusion.
I just think everyone should follow the nation's
Yeah,
laws.
I mean, it's very. Do you care about children?
Yes, I love kids.
Okay, but not enough to let their father go home, right? Not enough to force the politicians to figure out what needs to happen with immigration first. They need to be harmed first.
You're giving me a scenario that just doesn't apply.
You're giving me a scenario that's happening all the time. That's happening right now in LA constantly. They're going to Home Depots and getting picked up.
They're doing that here too.
Yeah, and that sucks. Yeah, okay, so I'm giving you a realistic scenario that is happening right now.
And nothing you post is going to take them down. So really consider the ROI. At best, maybe they'll stop coming to specific events that don't help them achieve their goals, but there are always unsuspecting, naive communities ready for them to prey on. And that's why I think this video is important, not just for activists, but for just normal people to understand this important aspect of how the sausage is made.
Glad I have more time to work out now and get rid of this dad bod.
My prediction for the future is that as the government gets more and more authoritarian and cracks down on more things and takes more battles in more places, these propagandists, these agents, these provocateurs, these vultures are going to keep multiplying. as more and more communities are put into the same bucket as trans people and immigrants, as more and more civil rights are taken away, like gay marriage and abortion, and as more and more cities become occupied with federal troops, there will become a need for more and more of these agents to become enlisted in more communities, whether or not they believe their own bullshit and so truly think of themselves as the hero of the story, or they're just cynical fucking trolls being shitty to people for a paycheck. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what is happening is they are exploiting the communities that they're operating in. These people inflict violence onto members of our community, either directly or from systems. They use the suffering of our communities that comes downstream from the authoritarian policies and actions of the state in order to build their own brands and enrich themselves. These people, like the police, are traitors to their class, and you have to think about them that way. As conditions in our society degrade, more and more people will become politically activated, and we will need to get them up to speed on who these agents are and how they operate so that they know how to deal with them and they know how to protect themselves. However you choose to deal with these vultures, be strategic and calculated, because they can upend your whole life. Till next time, ride fast, take chances.
That's a hot R6, hell yeah. That's a fuck, that looks nice. Yeah, you must've, that's all custom, that's hot. That's sick, that's super, super sick. I'm just admiring, I can't hear a word you're saying, so. You want a sticker?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, you doing it, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, I'd be scared, Jesus, this is steep. Be safe.